Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander Tactical. Now, are you looking to improve your battle belt setup? What I have here is one of my setups. I'm sure you probably all agree that something like this is constantly in flux while you're trying to find that perfect one for you. So let's have a look at how I have this set up with my Tasmanian Tiger Warrior Belt and additional pouches. Okay, so here is my belt. We'll have a look at all of the different features that we have on here. As far as colours are concerned, it's fairly standard with Tasmanian Tiger. There are several different colours, including your OD green. The version that we have here, this is the Coyote brown, there's black. I'm trying to think of the other colours as well, so there's a multicam as well. They've just introduced a grey as well. Now, I think at the time of filming, they don't have this in grey, but I'm sure if there's enough demand, and depending on how well the grey colour goes down, I'm sure there will probably be a grey version of this in the future. Size wise, there are a few different sizes from small, medium to large. I'm a large and this one fits just right. It's able to fit over a pair of tactical pants like the ones that I'm wearing today, and still have plenty of room should you want to adjust these out. The belt itself consists of two parts, as a lot of these belts do. So if I open this up here, you'll be able to see on the inside, here is the actual main belt itself. So the belt is a good, it's 1.75 inches I believe, or 2 inches, really tough, made from this strong nylon material. Now, it is slightly different to some of those other belts that you see out there. So rather than that ridiculously thick nylon where they just have it as one separate or at least one part, on here it's actually a two-part piece where they've rolled it over. Is it rolled? No, so it's actually two separate pieces of nylon which are then stitched together. On the inside of it here, which I'm sure you can probably hear, you have this hook and loop. The hook and loop is there so that when it then passes through the outer part of your belt, this is the part that you attach all of your gear and your kit to, that it doesn't slide or it doesn't move in between whilst it's in there. Rather than also having this so there are points at which it's stitched through, all of this can be opened. So if I splay this open all the way down, you'll see that it does run the full length of the belt. You do find with some that yes, you'll have certain points where it's stitched together. I've not had any issues. All of the Velcro that runs through here, whether it's Velcro or hook and loop, whatever you want to call it, really does a good job of keeping this thing together. I guess if you have any systems that need to be attached to your belt, this will give you a lot more freedom as to where you're able to attach those all the way through. Now, the main cover, or at least let's start again. So as this passes through here, you also have these additional locking points. Not necessarily to lock it in place. I think the hook and loop that's on the inside of here does an exceptional job of being able to lock this belt as it passes through here. But this is just another point that you can stop this from kind of flailing around. It also keeps it locked into place, as such as, you know, it stops it from moving past where this padded protection is underneath here. It also adds as an extra belt stay as well, so the additional length that you have here can pass through into here. Now, I'm a 36-inch waist, and there's a good additional 9, maybe 10 inches on both sides. which is again, you know, depending on whether you go for the small, medium or large. I definitely recommend checking the Tasmanian Tiger website just in case you want extra details and being able to find the right size for you. Tasmanian Tiger use Woojin buckles, which I really like. I know there's a camp that's like, oh no, if it's not Duraflex, if it's not ITW Nexus, then I'm just not on it. But in the many years that I've been looking at Tasmanian Tiger products, the Woojin buckles have been excellent. In fact, I found that they're actually a little bit better than some other buckles that are out there. Might be a little contentious point, but you know, I'm happy to say it. Plus, if you want to replace any of these, if you do have any issues with them, hopefully you're not going to have any issues with them, but if you do need to replace them, I've found that Woojin buckles are actually very fairly priced as well if you do need to replace them. So that's the main belt itself. Let me just push that back down there. On the front here, I've got roughly, so as I mentioned, I'm a 36-inch waist on the front. I know that my span from baby finger to thumb is exactly 9 inches, and there is a 9-inch opening, and it's perfectly centered for, you know, the way that I have it, the way that it's set up, and the way that it keeps it nice and balanced for me. So that's the first section of the belt. The second section is the section that has all of this PALS webbing on here. Rather than going for laser cut PALS webbing, they've gone for the traditional style sewn on PALS webbing. Again, I know that there's camps that are in between the, well, I'm all laser cut, or no, I prefer the traditional. On this one, it is the traditional. There is, on this side, here it is, so you have the little Tasmanian Tiger logo on here, super discreet, it's not kind of obnoxiously glaring in your face. This is all made from, on the underside here, underneath the webbing itself. This is all made from a 700D Cordura, and it is genuine Cordura. You have your little Cordura logo here, and then on the inside you also have a Tasmanian Tiger logo there as well. As far as the underside of this, you have this really plush, nice, tough mesh membrane on here. Now, if I can get this in the light so that you can see, so as the light passes through this, there is some padding on the underside, but it's actually made up of additional layers of mesh. So it does a very good job of keeping that area breathable. At the end of the day, when you've been sweating a lot underneath here, let's face it, if any company tells you that it stops you from sweating, that's an untruth. The way that Tasmanian Tiger really have developed this is not necessarily to stop you from sweating, but to allow as much air through this panel as possible, and it does an exceptionally good job at that. When you take this off, leave it off maybe for a couple of hours, it allows whatever moisture is in here to get out, and yeah, it does dry up a lot faster than some other belts that I've tried that go for a small amount of mesh on the outside and then have more sort of sponge or foam lining on the inside. If that foam lining isn't closed self foam, all it does is just act as a sponge. It sucks up that sweat, and that's where you get that smell. Now, I've had this, actually it smells fine actually. I've had this out for hold on, let's check. Well, how many have I done now? 3. So 3 days skirmishing with this, and yeah, it's very rare that I want to ever sniff my kit, but it's done a very good job. All the way around the outside, both on the back here and then on the front section here, all of the stitching is reinforced. All of the stitching through the middle, rather than getting that back out again, all of the stitching is reinforced on here as well. The PALS webbing loops on here, the stitching, again, as you'd expect with Tasmanian Tiger, is excellent. I can't really count how many on here, but I'm going to say that there's at least, actually I can see it on this one, so that is at least triple stitched, and yeah, really good. Now, as far as how the setup for your PALS webbing on here is concerned, this is for the large, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections on here. Now I say I count these out in sections because hopefully you'll see, so where this starts to articulate round you, you have these breaks in here. What this does is it allows it to bend and conform to your body just that extra little bit better. On this one that I have here, you'll see that I have spanned this across this section. It doesn't really affect anything other than the fact that it now allows me to position this where I want. So if you have double stacked things, like, did I do it on this one? I did do it on this one purposely. So this is a double stack that spans across that section and it still fits in there perfectly. It still allows this joint to articulate and expand ever so slightly. And again, just gets back to the comfort when it's on your waist. Here at the front, you'll notice as far as rows, so we have rows and we have columns. Columns go up and down and rows go across. So you have you have a 3 column, and then you have sorry, I went against what I've just said. You have 3 rows here, and then you have 2 rows here at the front. This is mainly to make sure that this is nice and contoured, so if you have smaller items that you want to put here at the front, you certainly can do. Here at the moment I have a pistol mag, and that just fits in there perfectly where this gap is, or at least where the gap is for this articulation. Now as far as the magazines are concerned, I've purposely put a few different ones on here, so I do have some examples of them. So as far as your pistol, this is I have a Glock mag in here at the moment. On the rear of here you have your 3 sections, so you have your up, your over and your under, and then it will be able to pass through here on the back. These are laser cut, but what they've done is they've put this additional piece of webbing here at the bottom, so you can pass these up and over, and then when you pass this back through, rather than having to pass it back through the laser cut webbing, or at least the laser cut PALS part here, especially when there's a magazine in there, but if I take the magazine out for a second, it's quite difficult to get it back in there, mainly because you do have a plastic back to this to keep it nice and rigid, so it's locked against your belt or whatever this is attached to. So being able to pass it back underneath this little piece of webbing certainly makes it a lot easier. These are set up with elastic that runs across the front and it runs through here, and then on the sides, rather than having what would you call it, so that the lip that's on the side here on these rifle magazines, sorry, we do keep going out of focus there for a second, sorry about that. The lip on here, rather than it being a rigid lip that turns out, because these are smaller mags and they're just a little bit easier to get in and out with the elastic that's on here, it just expands as it goes in there. So they're the pistol mags. Now TT also do double pistol mags, so if you wanted to mix this up however you want to mix this up, then you certainly have that option. As far as the rifle magazines are concerned, I've put 2 different ones on here purposely. You're probably looking at this and thinking I've done a real kind of kit bash on this. Normally I would probably try to keep them looking exactly the same, but I did just want to show you the different versions that they have. I'm going to call this, well, I mean, this is what you'd probably consider as a traditional one. It is double stacked, similarly to the pistol mag as well. I certainly didn't mention on the inside. So on the inside you have this, if you can see in there, it's just a slightly redder colour. Let's get this back in focus. It has just like a rubber section on there, so as you push your magazine into there, it just clasps that a little bit better. It's on the front of the magazine here, and it's on the back of the magazine pouch there. On the front, this is constructed with the same cordura as the other ones, and you also have some PALS webbing across the front as well. Should you want to maybe attach an additional magazine to the front, or maybe there is, if you have a set of these across the front of a plate carrier, then you can add maybe an additional administration pouch to the front. When I was talking before about the lips on these, so the lips on the pistol magazine, they are soft lips, let's call them. The lips on here are rigid lips, so on the inside of these lips there is a plastic piece. So that when this pushes in, they're very easy to be able to get in and out. If it is that you have a larger magazine or a wider magazine, these are, I guess, you know, the old school ones, but a P-mag, maybe you wanted to put in there and you find that it was rattling around just that extra little bit. I will say that they do fit in perfectly. You have some drawstrings on the bottom here so that you can keep that in there nice and tight. Now that I've pulled that tight, even though I keep dropping this on the floor, it fits in there and it really does lock into place. Across the back, there is plastic or some sort of resin or whatever the material in here to keep that supported. And then you have similar here, so on the back, as far as the PALS webbing or the PALS loops are concerned, they are laser cut all the way through the back, and then here at the bottom you have some of that traditional webbing, so that once it's passed through and then looped back again, you can loop that in there as well. This material is more like a Hypalon material, so there's actually a mix on here. All of the main nylon on here is a Cordura. In fact, there you have your little Cordura label on the bottom and your Tasmanian Tiger label. Again, all of your plastics, Woojin plastics. But on the sides, so where these plastic lips and sides are concerned, they are covered in this Hypalon style material. And then the pass-throughs also use this Hypalon style material. It actually reduces down on the friction when you're rubbing Cordura against Cordura. There is a little bit of friction there. It's great when it's on your belt, mainly because it stops it from kind of moving around as much. But I mean, you all know it's a pain in the arse getting these things through. So having this different material, it just makes it a little bit easier, rather than me overgilding the lily on that. Plus, with your bungee system on the sides, if you did want to run something through here, then you can do that as well. Now the other version, so this year Tasmanian Tiger released their aquatic range. This was set up for the frogmen out there. This was set up for the marines out there that will be coming in and out of water on a regular basis, or at least on a basis that you might necessarily start in water and then move to land. So this is made more from that Hypalon material, and what you'll hopefully notice as well is that you have these larger sections that have been opened out. The construction to it is pretty much the same, so you have these rigid lips on the top, so being able to get your magazines in and out is a breeze. It's very simple. Across the bottom though, all of this has been completely opened up so that any water that gets into there just comes straight out. You can also fasten and tighten these up as well. I find that I do need to do that just a little bit more for these, mainly because on the inside, so on the inside of the, I refer to the traditional versions, you do have that extra little kind of rubber bit on the inside of those. With these, you don't get that in here. It's a toss-up, I guess, between whether you want to have that or not. I'm guessing when they started to develop these, because rubber or however it might be porous, or if it reacted in any sort of way to salt water, that they just decided it wasn't worth having that on here. But as I mentioned, pull this just an extra little bit tight, make sure that your bungee feeds through just a little bit better, and then it grips them just as well as the other one does. But this is completely constructed from this Hypalon style material. So on the back, rather than having the laser cut that you have on here, these are just holes that you'll then, obviously that is your over, and then here is your under, and these pass through these really well. Because this is the Hypalon style material, it's not as coarse as Cordura, so as you're passing these through here, it just slides through. They have this double lock style mechanism, so that if this had unfortunately come undone, Where there's some plastic in here, the way that this is stitched over, it stops it from wanting to pull through. You have to purposely get your thumb in there to be able to get it round that, and then you have the extra tabs that you can pull these through on as well. This one's exactly the same. The way that these tabs work, you have that I don't know if they call it a lock, but I'm going to call it a lock for now. But again, it just stops it, the way that it's stitched, from being pulled through. So these are the M4 M4 pouches that I use, and they work perfectly. Getting back to the belt, so we also have a dump pouch on here. This will roll up, and then I can fit all my magazines into here and, you know, get at them as they're needed. And then also for extra little parts of tools, or if there's any administrative things. At the moment it's kind of full of BBs. Don't worry, these are biodegradable BBs and will be gone within a few months. But yes, there's some extra little pockets in here that I put in this pouch, and it does a good job for me. Now additionally, I did want to show these. So depending on the magazine, or sorry, depending on the holster that you use, if you have one of these style holsters that passes through, you can put that on there and then that will lock into place. It's great, it keeps it securely on your belt. Because of how rigid this belt is as well, I'll just pop that back off again, there's little kind of lateral movement, there's hardly any whatsoever. A new addition that I've had, now I will say, so this is from Deadly Customs, they sent me this. This is a very special piece of kit. So this is what they've just recently released, purposely for Olight lights on here. The connection goes from the Olight itself, so there's over 100 different guns that this will fit, because it's pinching and it's held in place by the light itself, rather than actually having any friction onto the body of the pistol. But if you wanted to run one of these, of course, you will need to remove this from the buckle. So let's just take this off here, just to, you know, show how easy this is to set up. So you will need to pass that through there. You'll need to pull this back again through here. Let's just make sure we are right. Yes, we are right. Then you can pass this through like so. Pull it back here. Have that so we are in position, and then pass this back through here. Now when I pull this back, you'll see that that goes into there. And then obviously with the drop leg, you've got that so that you can keep that secure against your leg. And then if you needed to add some additional pouches to the front here, you can do that as well. But this is a really, really nice holster. I want to say a massive thank you to Deadly Customs for sending me this. And you will most definitely be seeing more from this in the future. For me personally, I wear this below my belt. I find it just helps to keep my trousers, my pants up. Again, from what I've tried to learn about this, there isn't really a right or wrong way whether you wear it above. Generally, it just comes down to how you prefer to wear it and your style. All of the pouches, or at least all of the additional magazines that are on here, I can get with one hand. They're all seated in there just right, so it gives just enough of a pull that I have to pull it out, but whilst they're in there, you know, nothing's going to come out. Everything's just right. I have them orientated so that as I pull them out, my magazines are forward in the position so that they can be reloaded. And for me, it's just a setup that I'm working on and just trying to work out, getting everything in the right place so that it's there to be used when it needs to be used. With the addition so that the dump pouch, now there's something that I'm working on, because I think with a few different ones, a lot of it comes down to muscle memory to be able to change, drop it in there, which I have just missed. But that again just comes down to to practice and muscle memory to be able to get that into the right place. So as far as the setup is concerned, as you'd expect from Tasmanian Tiger, the quality of their goods is world class, world leading. As far as here in Europe is concerned, they are the main supplier to the German armed forces, to the SWAT teams, or whatever their equivalent of that is. And yeah, it really is next level gear. Here in the UK, I am a UK ambassador for Tasmanian Tiger. However, everything that is on my belt today has been purchased by me. This hasn't been supplied to me. I decided to purchase this. That's not necessarily so that I can give you an honest opinion on it, because the agreement that I have with them is that I can do that. I just decided that I wanted to purchase this. But as far as the setup is concerned, highly recommended. They have lots of different pouches on there so that you can completely design this to however you need to have, or however you want this to be used. Now, I fully appreciate, and there may be people in the comments going, "You've missed this. This needs to be added. Why haven't you added this?" So I'd like to hear. So however your style of players, whether it's real steel, whether you're in the forces, or whether like me, I'm just a gear nerd and I use all of this for airsoft, which it works perfectly for. Let's hear what your setup would be. Is there something that you would add to this? Is there something that you would take away to maybe replace something else? Let's hear below. Now, of course, I'll leave some links to everything that you can see here today. I'll leave those in the description below. I'll also leave some of my social media links in there so that you can follow me here, either on Moorlander Tactical or my other sister account, Moorlander EDC. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay tactical. I left my gloves on purposely to show how easy it is to do with the gloves on. It is easier to do. It's a lot easier to do with no gloves on. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this double check everything. Learned the hard way, and I've just realised that I didn't remember to double check. I've learned the hard way so many times. It's all fun and games until you realise you get home and your mic's not been plugged in properly. I've sworn a lot. Unfortunately, there might have been children around when I did it, but you learn once and you learn the hard way, especially when your pants are stuck up your ass as well. Look at tactical belts, battle belts. Tasmanian Tiger products. I'm a UK Tires. This is Moorlander Tactical. Now, are you trying to up your battle belt? This is the Warrior Belt, but I guess collectively it's a battle belt. Struggling today. Hi, I'm the Moorlander, and this is Moorlander Tactical. Now, are you looking to... Why do I keep... Oh shit, phone's not on silent either. Ooh, that could have... Can change things. Let's take that out. I think I fluffed that last bit. I probably did. Whew, honestly, the one thing that you can always find with British people is, one, they talk about the weather way too much, and two, they're never happy with the weather. We've had so much rain recently that it's absolutely just well, it's not flooded the entire country, but it's been so annoying. Now it's warm and I'm like, I wish it was cold. So yeah, there you go, you stupid annoying flies. Well, that's it for me for now. So yeah, have fun, stay safe, don't do anything, well, actually, feel free to do daft stuff. Life's boring if you don't do daft stuff. Yeah, have a good one, see you in a bit.